Good afternoon everyone. We are here at the Johannesburg Holocaust and Genocide Museum, and today we are going to be showing you just a little bit of a snippet as to what they have on exhibition, which reminds us of the atrocities and the terrible things that happened not only in the area of Europe but also in Rwanda. So as we go through, just spot a couple of things that will allow you to appreciate, for example, the tracks on this wall that they designed. Perhaps maybe the social distancing that was brought in place, and these cobbles are made from tombstones, and you can see tombstones laying on the floor, as well as a remembrance for all the people that lost their lives, which is from children all the way to adults. And not only in the Europe genocide, where 6 million people lost their lives, 1.5 million being children. Rwanda lost nearly 1 million in 3 days. So we're going to have a quick look around and just show you the benefit of coming to this place, to have a look for yourself and be shown around. Shows all the different things that happened, all the way from the teachers that stayed with the people and the children, and a description of what they went through. And if you have a look at the other tracks that were taken out, it's symbolic of the scars and the memories. And even if you have a look at this typewriter, which I believe has been put here, that Hitler used. So as we go into the sections, we're not going to stay too long, because it's really more about you coming to experience it yourself and just see what these people went through, from Rwanda in 1994 to all those that lost their lives throughout the history of the Holocaust. And this is a very important message, especially for what we are going through today. So I'm not going to focus too much on each story, because I think that will give you an opportunity to come and see it yourself, or even go online, and the link will be below this message. And it talks about the Holocaust, and it talks about the genocide in Rwanda and all the people that were affected, which is very, very unfortunate. And here we have a population distribution throughout Europe, and all the people that were affected. Very sad. As well as the survivors, who a lot of them moved to Johannesburg in South Africa and set up life here in Johannesburg to as refugees, to find a better place, to start a new life, whether it was with those that escaped or whether it was without those that escaped. And we have a look at all the things and the stories, from the happy childhood memories before all this started, Jewish life before the war, which I've been told was a very prosperous time and joyous time, from the school days to the Jewish traditions. And wow, all the beautiful illustrations and books with the Hebrew language. Remember, we've been talking about the Hebrew language and the importance of it, and as well as the sports, music and arts and weddings and celebrations. So you can see it was a very, very special, a good time that people had before the genocide started. But unfortunately, it moved to a very dark stage in history. And as we go through it today, I'm just going to ask you to reflect on some of the things that are happening in our lives today, that are causing us to be very concerned about the times and the seasons that we're living in. You know, if you have a look at some of these witnesses from different peoples, prisoners of wars, the disabled, the slaves, and also just the ordinary people, gives us a very clear indication as to where they came from, what they suffered, and who was responsible for that suffering. And as we go through, we can continue to look at the pictures depicted. Buildings on fire, destruction, division, refugees, whether they were in South Africa or other parts of Africa, or even worldwide, even in America. You know, it gives us a certain reflection on the worldwide assistance during such a terrible, terrible time in history. From the ghettos, whether it was in different areas, and there's 3 on display there: Kovno, the Warsaw, and the Theresienstadt ghettos. The ghettos and the camps, as well as the Jewish resistance against the Nazis. What about the Nazi camps? We can see that they went through a terrible time. And as we see here, the Star of David was something that King David brought unity to a nation. And it was mocked by making the people of these concentration camps bear the symbol of the Star of David to the unfortunate time of what actually happened. It's certainly not something that we would like to spend some time reflecting and looking at, but it certainly gives us a period of history that may allow us to learn, hopefully. Now, this is the deportation camps and killing centers that were spread all over Europe, and also the methods that they used to get people to Auschwitz, which literally would then form part of the Slovakia, Poland, German era. All the way from Greece, as far south as Greece and Rome, all the way up through to Oslo in Norway. And according to this map, it didn't go as far as Great Britain, but did include France and also some of the areas that were affected. This is the infamous tracks that you may be able to remember, or if not, learn about. And almost those tracks symbolize a pathway to destruction, but a pathway from many, many locations that came into a place where the innocent and those that lost their lives didn't have to lose. They were human beings, uniforms, boots. They were created in the image. And this is a testimony. I was a shade. A different creator made me. And he in mercy left nothing of me that would die. And I fled to him, rose weightless, blue, forgiving, I would say, apologizing, smoke to omnipotent smoke, without image or likeness. Written by Dan Pagus, a poet and a Holocaust survivor. Let me have a look at some of the other stories, which include a lot of memories of things that may have happened, stories that were told, truths that were shared. And so many, in fact, that in this museum it gives us an opportunity to have them in a drawer. And even when they're in a drawer, you don't know what lies behind the drawer before you pull it out. But when you pull it out, you'll be able to have a look. So let's have a look at the church. And I've not seen this before, but it speaks of the church. The Christian church had a mixed record during the Holocaust. The majority of the church leaders did not speak out against the murder of the Jews, and few actively supported the Nazis. The Catholic and Lutheran churches in Germany became subservient to the Nazi regime. Centuries of Christian hostilities towards the Jews had created a climate of anti-Semitism, and the Nazis exploited throughout Europe. In 1940, the Catholic Church rigorously protested against the euthanasia program, However, it did not speak out against the killing of the Jews. The leader of the Roman Catholic Church, Pope Pius VII, remained silent despite having detailed knowledge of the murder of millions of Jews and did not publicly condemn the Nazi crimes. However, while most remained silent, a number of individual churchmen did risk their lives to speak out against the Nazis and urge their parishioners to help the Jews. Many Christian orphanages, monasteries, and convents made shelter to Jews. Churchmen supplied Jews with false documents so that they could pretend to be a Christian. Some individuals, motivated by their Christian faith, risked their lives to rescue and hide the Jews. Let that be a lesson for all during this time, including the church, because this is a time that we have learned from history that didn't end well, and all these people lost their lives where they could have been saved. But it was about remaining silent. Some of the churches remained silent, and they became subservient to the rule of those in authority that brought on this massacre. And I'm going to share another message on Sunday, which this link will be attached to it, going into detail of some of the things that we need to be aware of during this time. But it gave choices and dilemmas, and the Holocaust took place in a full view of the world. Millions of people witnessed the crimes committed by the Nazis. Some chose to resist the regime while others collaborated. Some helped the victims while most were bystanders. In this space, we tell the stories of different choices and explore how people's choices were influenced by their circumstances. And that's now talking about the draws that portrayed the perpetrators as well as collaborators and bystanders and resistors and rescuers. Each one had a name. I can't say more than that. This is talking about the genocide in Rwanda and the tragedy that happened over a very short period of time. And it was 100 days, which is literally 3 months. I said 3 days earlier, I do apologize, it was 3 months. And the sad, sad genocide that happened on the 6th of April 1994 caused 800,000 people to be killed. And this was apparently due to the fact that they labelled different social classes and divided them into, divided one against the other, and unfortunately turned into a situation where families were betraying each other, communities were betraying each other, and the result is that the hope of the killings were actually done by the people that were meant and used to live side by side in harmony. But it was because of the propaganda, the manipulation, and the evil intent of the few that caused this mastermind of the genocide, that was mass participation in genocide, which was ashamedly affected so many people, not only adults but children too. So I would encourage you to come have a look, visit and explore the history of what happened not only in the Jewish community and the genocide that happened not only in Europe but also in Rwanda, because we can learn from it, otherwise we may go through it again. So if we go through outside, we have an opportunity just to reflect.
Und der Nerven verschwinden mit dem Wein. Darauf versammeln wird die Sonne die Kajons, die Aparole geschrieben dort zu dort. Auf die Gestrebten, die Bloten in die Kleid. Es ist kein Gehen.